What's up everyone, this is Jason here with the Dangerous Pirate G5. We're going to do an update video for you guys. So one thing I do want to talk about is I know there's been a lot of talk about the bolt, saying it's the exact same as a G4. To answer that question, it is a yes and it is a no. Let me explain that for you. Okay, as far as the size, the porting, all that, yes. Okay, the no part is internal. The G5 bolt is actually, you can basically say protrude more, or drilled more, milled more, whatever you guys want to use as terminology. The G4 is not. The G4 actually has a shorter milling or porting or drilling where the back cap sits. So to answer everyone's question, can I get a G4 Tech T bolt for this? The answer is no, guys. It will not fit. Hopefully they're making upgrades. Just wait for the part. The other thing I do want to talk about is I know that in some other videos I said I would not mess the trigger. Well, I have. And I have been able to get the marker to shoot smoother. What we did is there's the spring in here. We yanked the spring out. The trigger is much smoother now. It doesn't have hardly any force to it anymore. And of course, we will be doing a video to show you guys how to do that. We have had a couple people write into us and tell us that their purge pin was bent. Now, I don't know how that happened, but the one thing I do want to let you guys know of is when you have your purge, don't put force. Let the purge spring do its job. Okay, guys? Don't be like flinging this open or anything, because you can risk bending it. So please be careful on that note, guys. I have also been asked to go over a little bit more about the programming. So, the first thing I'm going to cover is the trigger debounce, which with your programming is your red flash. Now, the gun does come at the factory setting of 10. You can bring it down to 2 red flashes, which will be basically 2 trigger pulls. Do not put your gun on 1. We did it on this gun, and next thing you know, the gun started shooting full auto because the micro switch basically got stuck. So 2 red flash, which is your trigger debounce, will be totally fine. As far as your solenoid dwell, leave that at 12, which is your green flash. Do not touch it. Do not try to adjust it. Leave it at 12. It's not worth monkeying with your dwell, lowering it, trying to get more, shots per tank or anything. Because when you lower your dwell, you have to increase your pressure or your velocity. So just leave your dwell stock, guys. Like we said, green flash, 12. Now, your ABS, which also stands for anti-bolt stick dwell, comes stock with factory default number 8, which means it is turned off. You don't really need your ABS dwell on as long as you keep your bolt clean, your back cap lubed. As long as you keep this area clean, you're golden. We are going to be doing a video that's going to also show you guys another step you can do to prevent bolt stick. So that video will be up momentarily. Like I said, out of the box, do not touch your dwell, which is green flash, and do not touch your ABS, which is 8 flash. Do not touch those. Leave those stock, guys. Now, I did get the request to explain a little bit more in depth what a solenoid dwell is and what an anti-bolt stick dwell is. Now, the solenoid dwell, is basically when you pull the trigger, how long your solenoid's going to stay open to start sending the air wherever it needs to go. Now, I don't recommend ripping apart your solenoid, but for anyone that has, if you take it out, you see different holes drilled, or you might see different exhaust valves depending on the solenoid and the gun. So when you pull the trigger, Basically, the solenoid usually pushes a plunger, or backtracks a plunger, or opens a gate. There's a couple different solenoids that work, and when it does that, the air goes through all the holes. So you can kind of think of, here's your solenoid, here's your plunger, or the gate, or whatever kind of solenoid you operate. When you pull the trigger, that plunger pushes in and retracts back. So kind of think of it like a heartbeat almost. You have your heart, and it goes boom, 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 boom. Of course, I know a lot faster than this, guys. It does this. So when it opens, the air goes where it needs to go. When it closes, the solenoid closes. So, with 12 milliseconds, which is your stock setting, you can kind of think of it as it opening, going, that's 12 milliseconds, close. Okay? Pull the trigger. Okay? 12 milliseconds, close. And it is done in milliseconds, not seconds. So it is really fast, guys. With most guns that are a sealed bolt system, yeah, most of the time the dwell is, anywhere from, most guns, 9 to 17, depending on the marker. A lot of poppet guns, the dwell is 8, it's 6, 7, so it's in the lower setting range. So just think of it that way, guys. It's like your heart. Opens, closes. Opens, closes. That's basically solenoid dwell, layman's terms. Now, your anti-bolt stick, what that does is when your heart, we'll keep using that example, opens and closes, when it's wanting to close, it adds one other quick little millisecond, then closes. What that does is when the bolt is shot, it basically guarantees the bolt's going to fly right back into home position. But like we mentioned, guys, if you keep your bolt clean, you keep everything inside nice and clean, you don't really have to worry about anti-bolt stick. I've never ever had any of my guns have the anti-bolt stick on, and I haven't had one issue with them. So just remember, everything nice and clean, you don't need your ABS adjusted, and it comes stock turned off. You don't have to worry about that. Now, I have got a question asked about the battery. Somebody had a little bit of hard time taking it out. So I just want to cover that as well. Okay, so once you have your grip off, you have your battery. Now there's two ways you can get your battery out. You can do the good old-fashioned method. Put your finger underneath, lift up until it stops, and then just pull it straight out. Another way you can do it, and of course now for everyone that's new to paintball, taking your battery in and out like I'm doing, you're not going to hurt anything. Okay? So once the battery's in place, you can also use an Allen key. If you cannot get your finger in there, pop it up. You'll be totally fine. Now, this is a big issue in paintballing. Do not use 99-cent store batteries. Don't use Dollar Tree batteries. Don't use any of those. Use a good brand, Duracell, Energizer, the paintball batteries you can get. These are a very big issue. If you put a crappy battery in here, there's a high chance your solenoid will not operate correctly. I've seen it in the field over and over again. People come up to me, my gun's not shooting. I open it up, I see a black cat. They're good for little kid toys, but for something like this, spend the money, get the good batteries. I personally do not like rechargeables. I will not do rechargeables. Once these are done, I put them in a bag and I take them to a recycling place. Don't use rechargeables. Don't like them. Now, I also have showed you my other video. Inside, right here where the Allen key is, there is a plus and there is a minus. So it does show you how to put the battery in. Just to cover that, the circle part of the battery is the plus. The square, I know it's not really a square, but bear with me. The square is minus. So put the battery right back in. Now, I also got questions. Do you know if they're going to make upgrades for this gun? I can't answer. I don't want to say yes, and then next thing we know, they make absolutely nothing for the gun. So just be patient, guys. It does take some time for the manufacturer to release their permissions to make parts. Okay, that's one thing we got to keep in mind. Excuse me. Now, the last thing I do want to cover is people have been asking me a lot. Okay, the G5, an ETHA, a Proto, a Mini, what should I get? I will continue to help you guys with all questions you guys ask me. I'm a firm believer of there is no such thing as a dumb question, only a stupid answer. When you guys are looking to get different models of markers, I do recommend going online, reading about them, watching the videos, asking questions. If you can, go to your local pro shop, hold the markers, ask the tech or ask the salesperson, how is the programming? What kind of issues have you heard about? If you are nowhere near a pro shop, by all means, drop me a line and I will help you as much as I can through commenting, through email, anything I can do to help you guys, I will definitely do. The last question I've been asked, what kind of tank works best on the G5? High pressure, low pressure, mid pressure. Theoretically, they're all supposed to work the exact same. We have recently converted my Ninja Black Pearl tank to a mid pressure. I am going to admit the gun did shoot a lot smoother, guys. So I'm probably going to recommend, if you have an adjustable reg, to set it for mid pressure for this marker. If you don't, high pressure is okay, guys. You will not have an issue with the gun. It will kick a little bit more severe, but if you don't mind that, it's totally cool. I'm not going to say you guys got to go out and buy another $160 tank. No, not going to do that to you guys. So other than that, this is Jason with the Dangerous Power G5. Thank you very much for watching.